Oh wow, they revealed the Reflux Deco today. That's pretty cool. We know that it has wall from the trailer. I wonder what else it has. Flash Shield. Use a special weapon Shark Ride to fight aggressively. What the Alright, so pretty much I think that was the majority, or basically it feels like everyone's reaction to the new Reflux kit, which got announced yesterday as of the time I put up this video, hopefully. And I'm not really exaggerating when it comes to the title of this video. We'll get into it because Splashball Reef Slider on Reflux is not good. It is far from good. So let's talk about why if you don't really know why. Reflux as a weapon in Splatoon 3 has been nerfed several times since the beginning of the game because it's been one of the best short-range painters in the game with insane tap shot paint. It had arguably a better special because Day 1 Missile had no cooldown, as it does now. And Day 1 Missile is also bugged on top of that in ways that were quite dumb. And S2 Missile was pretty egregious if you played that game at all toward the end of it, right? And, you know, as of now, this costs, was it 210? Yeah, I think back at launch it was like either 190 or 200. I don't remember. It might have been 190, actually. I don't quite remember. But yeah, let's fast forward from launch until the current day. They've made several changes to Reflux. Obviously, Missile is 210 now, as you just saw, right? The main weapon paint's slightly worse. You know, if you didn't know that, you wouldn't really guess that just because of how cleanly this weapon paints at short range. It's kind of ridiculous, right? So it was really good at farming Missile, and with no cooldown back on day 1, it was really dumb. Because you essentially didn't really interact so much as you just played sort of a coloring book with the map to just get missiles to enable stuff on your team, right? Stuff that actually fights. What else did they do? They nerfed the tap shot paint by making it so when you're charging the arrows, it's a tighter spread, meaning the arrows aren't, you know, as widespread. And that makes them more consistent and better at fighting, right? Cool. Awesome. We like that. We want less spam and a more fighting-oriented weapon. Obviously, Missile has cooldown here on top right. Back day 1, I could already be like halfway to my next set of Missile. Very, very silly. And in spite of these changes, this weapon has been extremely dominant in Koshien, which is a Japanese top-level Turf War format event. Despite all of these changes, it is quite literally the best missile in that format because in Turf War, you know, burst paint's crazy, missile's crazy. This is a lightweight weapon. Its frame data is very good. You have curling to sort of reposition and rat, so you can't necessarily ignore the reflux. Like, yeah, they might be fighting, but you know, you can't let them just do this for free. That kind of thing, and you know, missile output, that's all good. That's great. So here's the thing with Reflux Deco. Instead of curling, we have wall, and instead of missile, we have reef slider, right? So, you know, in theory, it's like, oh, the wall could help Reflux fight in the mid-range because it's not really consistent, you know, hitting moving targets with stuff like this is not, you know, that realistic. This range is not the worst, but it's not amazing. You know, you might get, you know, hits like that. So it's like, okay, well, adds that little bit of buffer. And, you know, I wish this was the Splatoon 2 training room because I could change weapons, throw a wall, and switch back to Reflux to give you a better visual on that. So sorry, but that's the limitation of Splatoon 3 for some reason. Wall doesn't synergize in the sense of, when I said this weapon's good at painting, I specifically said short-range painting. When you do charges to fight, that is not good paint. Like, even like half charge, like, this is not good. So if you have a wall, your paint becomes very pathetic if you're trying to fight with it. And if you're doing short-range painting, you don't really need that wall, do you? It kind of doesn't add anything to it. Right? And Reef Slider in general, you know, it's considered to be one of the weaker specials in the game. I think it has niche case uses, and it's not as bad as, you know, the average person may say. But this is in the context of the Reef Slider weapons themselves, because yes, it may be weak, sure, but in the context of a weapon like Aerospray, which has Fizzy Bomb, which can combo off the slider very easily, right? You know, you do this, you kill that. That's great. That's awesome. Vunder can do a really similar thing with Ink Mine. Especially since Reef Slider's last major buff, which was making the Sour Spot do 70 damage instead of 60. Tetra has the option of, rolling after the Reslider. Same with Dapple. They're not amazing weapons, but, there's some sort of synergy going on with those kits between the sub and main weapon and Reslider. Dreadringer, not great, but again, Suction can sort of do a similar thing. The main weapon has high damage values that can combo with Slider before and after the fact, so cool, it's something. Yeah, here's the thing with Reflux. It's a charge time weapon, so if you end your Reslider, like, you don't have time. This is your range without any charge, right? You don't have the frame. If someone's trying to kill you after the Reslider, like, unless they're, like, on top of you, like, you're not gonna be hitting them. So, comboing them after the fact is not a factor. Comboing them before the fact with the sub is not a factor. It has Splash Wall. Which, 30 damage if you walk into it. If they die like that, then I don't know what to tell you, quite frankly. So, Reslider's good at cheesing and can sort of combo with things, but the weapon can't combo with itself between the main or the sub, so that's really bad. And again, it doesn't help it paint better, it doesn't help it fight, or anything of the sort. If you're in hard disadvantage with this weapon, you were getting spawn knocked, you just wiped. One of Reflux's best traits is, the paint. Missile is one of the few, retake specials in this game. Like, okay, we're getting locked out, but now I know where everyone is, and I can potentially, use my main weapon to fight. Great, awesome. You don't have that with the other one. Reslider is very much a committal thing when you're trying to retake, and you don't even have the liberty of, curling to just throw, make them paranoid, like, oh, someone might be on that curling. No, you have a wall. Wall is a linear sub that sort of just says, like, hey, I'm here, or hey, someone threw this. So when you combine those together, it makes no sense in neutral. It makes absolutely no impact in disadvantage. It just doesn't. It just straight up doesn't. So, without Missile to flush people out, and without curling to let it, move, or just, paint for its special, what do you even have with Reflux Deco? The answer is you don't really have anything. That's pretty much a definitive bottom tier weapon. Again, I talked about it. I think weapons like Undercover even have more synergy going for them, and even Undercover, if you don't combo with them necessarily after the slider, you still have a shield. Like, there's more logic to that existing, right? So, yeah, Reflux has just simply been punished for the crimes of being too good at turf war. I don't know what else to say about it. It's just really bad. Like, this is... Reef Slider Splash Wall Reflux is on pretty much like the same tier, if not worse, of bad than, other bottom tiers in other games such as GooTuber in Splatoon 2 with Suction plus Splashdown. But at least with that kit, you get a lethal bomb throw, right? You don't get that with this. You get a wall and a weapon that isn't really good at fighting with it. Wall is, cool. It might be hard for them to kill you. You have Wall Slider. You tell me what you're going to do if that guy's playing 96 Deco or Stamper or Squeezer or any weapon that outranges you and doesn't care. When you give Wall to Reflux, you have to give it a special that makes the opponent care, otherwise they'll simply ignore it, and Slider is not that special. So they don't care. They're either going to beat you up, bully you, or ignore you. And yeah, Reflux Deco is just not going to do anything in this game. It is horrible. It is hilarious. I think it's hysterical. I'm sorry if you play Reflux. I feel bad. But, some things gotta be bottom tier, and unfortunately, that's what happened. If you like the style of video where I sort of just talk, I had a sort of rough script I wrote on break on my phone that I was working with, but I just wanted to talk about it, sort of give you the idea of, what made the original Reflux good. Again, the paint output with Missile is really the answer, because the main weapon is very flawed in a lot of ways. So when you take away the thing that makes it good, and you add nothing of substance that's new or synergizes with it coherently, yeah, that sucks. That's awful. Yeah. Subscribe if you enjoyed the video, as always. Thank you for watching to the end if you have. I'll see you next time. We'll be covering more... It's Sizzle season, that's not even... That's 6 months ago. More chill season weapons, likely Undercover or something like that. Actually, I might make one where I talk about Stamper, because I'm really excited for that one, so just depending on what it is, I might get a raw reaction video out of that one. Which, usually it'd be... make a video about what interests you, but Reflux Deco is so awful that I just had to. I had to just talk about it, But yeah, hope you enjoyed. I will see you next time. Have a good one.